Good morning. Whoa, that's loud. Our gathering song this morning is the same one we learned a couple of weeks ago, Whoever You Are, and the words are printed in the order of service. We'll just launch in and join. We'll sing it 3 times through, and so join in whenever you feel comfortable doing so.
As we begin our service today, we acknowledge that we are gathering upon the homeland of the Western Abenaki people. We express gratitude for their traditional and ongoing stewardship of the lands and waters, and we offer respect to the elders both past and present. Good morning. My name is Tom Shurston, and my pronouns are he, him, and his, and I am your worship associate this morning. And on behalf of the entire worship team, I'm delighted to welcome all of you, both those of you in the sanctuary and those watching the live stream. Whether you are a newcomer, a longtime member, or somewhere in between, you are part of our community, and we are glad you are here. Since 1864, this church has been a sanctuary for those seeking spiritual sustenance, as well as peace and justice in the world. With you here today, we continue on that path. Please know that at the back of the sanctuary, we have hearing assist devices available. And also please know that you can listen to and watch the service in the fireplace room if you should need to leave the sanctuary for any reason. It's always a pleasure to have newcomers and guests join us for worship. If this is your first or second time visiting with us and you wish to do so, would you please raise your hand or stand up so we can offer you a special welcome? It's so nice to have a vibrant congregation where we have lots of newcomers. Any of you who are newcomers to our congregation and worship services, you're encouraged to join us in coffee hour immediately following the service so that we can offer you a more personal welcome. You are encouraged to fill out the welcome form available at the welcome table so that we can connect with you outside of our service. Again, a warm welcome to each and every one of you, and I invite you now to turn to your neighbors from your seat in the sanctuary and offer one another greetings.
Yeah, I'm assuming she is here. Do you not spot her? Huh. Oh, she's in the back. I see her.
Okay, good. You are invited to continue your conversations at coffee hour. And the 2023 stewardship team has chosen the theme of Renew, Nurture, Grow for our annual pledge drive. And this morning we have a testimonial from Meredith Warner and her family, part of her family.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Meredith Warner. I use she, her pronouns,
My name is Az Beaudry, and I use they, them pronouns.
and we are 2 of 5 of the Warner Beaudry family here today. And we want to just share our story about what brought us to UCM and what keeps us committed to this place. I wanted to really focus in on the first time Ez and I participated in community lunch. We were really looking for a place to serve in community, to engage socially with others, and to really feel fulfilled that we were giving something back. And that seemed like a great place to start. And the first person we met was Dave Peters. Hi, Dave. Who worked with Esme to learn how to use this really special little tool that cuts the butter into little slices. It was very exciting. After butter slicing, we moved on to the dessert table where we got to know Irina Markova, who's also our neighbor, and one of the many pseudo-grandparents that we have received by being part of this community. Of course, we met Janet Poten. Hi, Janet, who is really the heart of community lunch and who put Ez and I to work one day at the free table where we put out things that we want to leave for others to receive if they need them. And then we also got to know Paula Gills by listening to her play music there, which was just an amazing experience. And I'm sure some of you might remember Ez playing music here last weekend, and that was really part of that inspiration was that relationship with Paula that's developed over the years. And of course, we also got to know guests here and the staff here by being part of community lunch. You'll see behind me, this is an old video, I think from 2018, of Ez dancing really joyfully to some music being played by a teenager who was volunteering that day, dancing with one of the community elders that comes to lunch here. And really just to me, like emblematic of the experience that my family has had by being part of this place. I don't want to not mention all of the many, like I said, pseudo-grandparents who my children have been able to build relationships with here. We're far from our family of origin who live in Pennsylvania, and it's just been so great to build multi-generational community around our children. And again, I'm positioning myself as a parent of school-age children and how meaningful that's been to me and to us. So in the spirit of mutuality and reciprocity, I invite you all to think about how you can give this year to help sustain this community over time, to continue to have a vibrant space for folks to come and be part of something bigger than themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith and S. I'm just giving a brief stewardship update. As you can see, we are slowly adding our seed paper to our display up here. We hope to have over 200 pieces of paper up there by the end of the drive. Right now there's 30, so we're getting there. This year we have a goal of having 20 new pledges come in, and that's pledges from people who didn't pledge last year. So if you're in that group, I really welcome you to add your pledge this year. And if you have any questions about the pledge drive, or you want to drop off your pledge in person, we're downstairs in the vestry during coffee hour, and we have a table set up. So thank you so much.
It's a joy for me to be part of such an engaged community. I have good news. I am announcing the arrival of the UU Common Read books, which are entitled Mistakes and Miracles, Congregations Journeying in Multiculturalism. To borrow your book, to get more information about the 4 upcoming sessions, and to register for any or all of them, please see Vertus LeVar Robinson or Paula Gills during coffee hour, or read more in the e-newsletter. Also, we're excited about the arrival of new people to our services, and we will celebrate next Sunday with a newcomers brunch beginning around 11:30 a.m. in the vestry. A main dish will be provided. You can learn more about this and sign up to attend at the hospitality table during coffee hour. As always, please be sure to read the Friday e-news for information about how you can connect with others and serve our community. And now let's take a deep breath and make sure our cell phones are silenced and prepare for our time of worship with the prelude.
Setting aside our singular preoccupations, we gather into this time and space as one community, seeking greater understanding, deeper peace, and nourishment for our souls. We gather here to know ourselves precious and beloved, held by a love that moves between us and that encompasses us all. May we know love is the aspiration, the spirit that moves and inspires this faith that we share. In our time together, may we honor and embody the power and the blessing of the love we need, the love we give, the love we are challenged always to remember and to share. Come, let us worship together. And I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn. It's number 314 in the gray hymnal. Our world is one world. 134 in the gray hymnal. Our world is one world. We need each other, don't we? Eliza will play the hymn once through, and then you're invited to join in.
Let us now light the chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. This morning, we welcome Acting Director of Lifespan Spiritual Exploration, Rowan Van Ness, to light the candle. And as she does, I invite you to light a chalice at home if you have one nearby. We light this flame, an enduring symbol of our collective commitment to lead with truth and compassion. Let us now join our voices in saying these words of affirmation, adapted from Griswold Williams. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant.
So I just discovered when I was sitting on the chair over there this weird envelope, and it has a number on it. Weird. Yeah, why don't you bring them up here? We should probably find out what they're about. Anybody else get one? No? Oh, wow. A lot of envelopes. Let's see if they're all the same. This one says, first clue. March Mystery Madness is a multi-generational game where people make new friends. It's lots of fun to play. Everyone in the whole church can play. Children, teens, and adults too. Huh. Let's see what the next one says. Second clue. All players have to sign up, but that's easy. You can sign up online or on a paper form at the LSE table. Parents have to say it's okay so they can help you play the game. March 5th, what's today? February. March 5th is the last day to sign up, but why not sign up today? Okay. This one has a 3 on it. Third clue. The team will contact you with your mystery number and give you hints about your mystery buddy. On Sundays, March 12th and March 19th, the pairs will leave messages or little gifts for each other in a special place in the vestry downstairs. The gifts or messages will all be clues that each person can use to guess the identity of their buddy. I've never done this kind of thing before. All right, there's one more. Fourth clue. On Sunday, March 26th, there will be a big celebration during coffee hour. The big reveal where the pairs will meet their mystery buddy and have a chance to eat yummy food and play games with their new friend. The best part is you will have a new friend that you can talk to in coffee hour or smile at across the room. Our church is full of friends we haven't met yet. Talk to Liz Benjamin or me. Talk to me or Liz if you have any questions. At this time, I invite you all to join in singing the children's parting song, and the preschool kids will be sung to the room downstairs. Preschool and kindergartners go downstairs. Elementary and any middle schoolers who want to join will go to the children's chapel. Thank you.
Giving is a spiritual act, and our generosity is a form of love and gratitude that helps us to practice Unitarian Universalism in support of our shared values with our collective resources. Charity is central to the well-being of the church community and beyond, as well as primary to our own sense of self. Each month through the UCM Community Pouch Program, we share part of our collection with an important church fund or community organization aligned with our values. You can find these green offering pouches at the ends of the pews on the side aisles to be passed toward the center aisle for collection. This month's Community Pouch recipient is the Ellie Cressy Webster Memorial Fund, which is administered by the Vermont Interfaith Power and Light, and they provide resources to help Vermont's faith and spiritual communities make important infrastructure changes to increase energy efficiency and reduce greenhouse emissions. Half of our cash offerings will go to our pouch recipient. The other half will go directly support the mission and ministry of this congregation. If you wish to designate your entire offering to the community pouch, please indicate that with a note attached to your cash or in the memo line of your check. Checks will go to the church unless designated otherwise. We are thankful to each and every one of you for your generosity in its many forms, and your offering is greatly received. This morning, the choir is really lucky to have some guest artists join us. We call them the Stomping Brigade. Unfortunately, some of them took ill recently, so the ones who are here will have to just stomp a little louder. We will be singing Wondrous Love.
And any of you who want to join in with your version of the stomping when it comes, please feel free to stomp.
And we light a final candle for all of those joys, gratitudes, concerns, and sorrows that we hold in the silence of our hearts this morning. I invite you to allow yourself to settle more deeply into this time of meditation and prayer. It's allowing the heaviness of your body or the lightness of your body in this moment to be settled in your seat, to feel within you the stirrings of your own heart this morning, whatever and whomever you might be holding, or whomever and whatever you might be wishing to let go. Simply allowing yourself to be present here as you are. Accepting and offering compassion for what is. And I offer you these words of meditation by Kevin Tarsa, which are based on Psalm 23. May I remember in this tender moment that love is my guide, always, shepherding me towards ways of openness and compassion. I have what I need, really, with love at my side, above me, below me, in front of me, behind me, inside every cell of me. Love infused everywhere. Just when the weight of the world I inhabit threatens to drop me in place and press my hope down into the ground beneath me, love invites me to rest for a gentle while and leads the center of my soul to the quiet, still, restoring waters nearby that somehow I had not noticed. And so love, quietly, sets me once again on its tender and demanding path. Even when the walls close around me and the cries of death echo through untold corners, I know that all will be well, that I will be well. When love whispers near to me, glints at the corner of my eye, rests with gentle and persistent invitation upon my shoulders. Yes, love blesses me. I live in a house of love, love that will not let me go. I live in a house of love and always will. And let us join now in a time of quiet meditation together. For the Universalist minister, Griswold Williams, the radiance of love was a stark contrast to the bleak realities of war and strife of his early adulthood. Reverend Williams was serving a congregation in Marion, Ohio during World War I when he was required to register with the draft board. He cited his religious objection to war and asked to be classified as a conscientious objector. A few years later, he was conscripted into non-combat service and was allowed to serve his time in France with the American Friends Reconstruction Unit. Bombs and guns had ravaged the French countryside, forcing many to leave their homes. And Reverend Williams worked with Quakers and others to construct the doors and the windows of fabricated shelters that were to replace the bombed-out homes of French villagers. Reflecting on this experience, he wrote these poetic words of prayer. O patient master workman of this world, shaper of all this home of humankind, teach me the truer trade of making doors and windows for men's souls, windows for letting in love's widening dawn, doors swinging outward freely on truth's pleasant ways. Reverend Williams later served for 10 years as the pastor of the First Universalist Church of Barre, Vermont, just down the road, from 1931 to 1941. And it was during this time that he compiled a book of readings for worship, which contains the words of affirmation that we said together earlier, and that is a regular part of our services. Hundreds of other Unitarian Universalist congregations also return to these words on a regular basis. We say an adapted version of his words. The original affirmation was called a covenant for free worship, and it read as follows: love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve mankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. The entire covenant is certainly worth delving into, probably in multiple sermons. But this morning I want to focus our attention on just that first line. Love is the doctrine of this church. It strikes me that this pithy statement could serve as a decent elevator pitch for our faith community. Someone asks you, so what are you all about at the Unitarian Church of Montpelier? Well, let me tell you, you might say, love is the doctrine of this church. Those few words say a lot, but they also leave a lot to unpack and to explore more deeply. For one thing, our congregation doesn't put forward any particular dogmas or creeds that one must profess to believe in order to be a member of or participate in our community. So claiming a doctrine might not seem so fitting. Putting forward shared beliefs and commitments, however, is different from requiring a profession of faith for membership. We do not obligate anyone to subscribe to a particular set of beliefs to join this religious community. However, contrary to what some might believe about Unitarian Universalism, ours is not a faith tradition in which you can believe whatever you want. We do, in fact, have theological roots that while they have evolved and continue to evolve over time, they shape what we believe now. This is something that the Article 2 Study Commission is seeking to clarify with the work that they have done on revising our current principles and purposes, as Reverend Tricia talked about a few Sundays ago. Love is a big idea to put front and center. And it is a word that is used with such frequency and triteness that I think it's worth dwelling upon its meaning, especially for a community like ours, which espouses to be held together by commonly shared values and that encourages one another to clarify and to commit to our own theological beliefs. So what does it mean to say that love is a doctrine? Love as a theological focal point came into our religious tradition primarily through our Universalist roots. Universalism emphasized a loving God over a punishing God and put forward a vision of humanity united by the bond of love modeled by the divine love of God for us. The Universalist minister and theologian Clarence Skinner put it this way: the Universalist idea of God is that of a universal, impartial, immanent spirit whose nature is love. Love is also present in our Unitarian roots. The Unitarian minister William Channing Gannett put together a statement in 1887 of the quote, "things most commonly believed among us," end quote, which included the following point: we worship one in all, that life whence suns and stars derive their orbits, and the soul of man its ought. That light which lighteth every man that cometh into the world, giving us power to become the sons of God. That love with which our souls commune. Love has been central to Unitarian Universalism since its beginnings. Love was synonymous with the divine. Love was the ultimate source of meaning, and God was believed to be essentially loving. Our theology has evolved significantly since the statements of Gannett and Skinner, such that a belief in God or the divine is no longer central to this faith, and instead, theists and atheists and humanists and agnostics and pagans all find a religious home in Unitarian Universalism. Love, however, endures. We continue to be drawn to name that which puts us in relationship with ourselves and others, and from which growth, healing, justice, and transformation can flourish. What I find unique about the kind of love that Unitarian Universalism claims as central to our faith is the boundlessness and benevolence of that love. This isn't a love that we reserve only for the people who like the same movies that we do, or only for the people who have filled in the same circles on their ballot on election day. This isn't a love defined by the traditionally rigid norms of male-female relationships and bodies. This isn't a love that we set aside and allow to turn to irrevocable animosity when someone hurts our feelings. This isn't a love that ceases when the last bit of dirt is shoveled into our dear one's grave. This love that we aspire to live as doctrine is expansive, inclusive, and unbounded by time or distance. Love is ever present in our relationships with one another and with the divine. Love is the source of forgiveness, redemption, grace, and gratitude. Love shapes how we welcome children into our families and religious community. Love guides how we move through grief when someone we are close to dies. Now, I want to recognize that what we claim to believe about love is largely aspirational, and it is through the practice of love that we truly come to know its dimensions and to clarify what love is and how it operates. The psychologist M. Scott Peck provides a definition of love in his 1978 book, The Road Less Traveled, that I find helpful. He defines love as, quote, the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth, end quote. The will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. This definition gives both direction and purpose to our understanding of love. There is an outward movement to it as choice and effort are exerted, and its purpose is spiritual growth, which I take to mean the movement towards greater well-being and wisdom in body, mind, and spirit. With this understanding of love in mind, I think it's important to point out that the boundless love of Unitarian Universalism that I was just speaking of cannot actually exist without boundaries. If we extend ourselves without limits, we are likely to feel depleted over time. There is an art to the practice of love that supports us in giving freely and generously of our love within our capacities and in balance with our own needs. I think we can also all recognize that love is so often companioned by pain. We are humanly imperfect in how we express love, and we are likely to hurt and to be hurt by others in the human endeavor of love. This is true in our most intimate relationships of family, friendship, and romance, and it is true in our church community as well. Because of this likelihood of causing pain in relationships of love, we must also recognize another boundary that we put on love, the boundary of accountability when we do not live up to our aspirations and when we cause harm, intentionally or not, to others. As it says in our congregational covenant, we take responsibility for the impact our words, actions, and inactions have on each other. As a religious community, I believe we are continuing to both broaden and deepen our theological understanding of love from those foundations of our theological heritage through our practice of love now in the present day. Over time, our Unitarian Universalist theology of love has evolved into one of action, love as a verb. Love is a choice we make to turn our will into action. The late author, teacher, and cultural critic Bell Hooks writes, "When we choose to love, we choose to move against fear, against alienation and separation. The choice to love is a choice to connect, to find ourselves in the other. In the practice of love, we intentionally engage with one another to break down fear, alienation, and separation. It is through our choices and actions that love is made known. Love is made more real within our religious community by the vows that we make to one another in our shared covenant. And love is made more real beyond our religious community by the actions we take in support of those we call neighbor and kin in the broader circles of our city, towns, and ecosystems. Returning to our words of affirmation, if love is the doctrine of this church, how do we know it? What evidence do we have to show that this is true? I invite you to think about that for a moment. How do we know that love is the doctrine of this church? If you have a thought in mind, I invite you to take a moment, just a couple of moments, to share your thought with someone near you, or if you're watching on the live stream, to share that in the chat.
So I hope that you had at least an example, one even, come to mind. Invite you, if you still have more to share, to continue during coffee hour, but maybe we're also still thinking about it. I imagine that some of your examples include the ways that love has been shown to you through a kind gesture of help during a difficult time. Perhaps you have witnessed love in the teaching of our young people in the preschool room, or in the clearing of the bike path together on Green Up Day. One story of love from this congregation came into being nearly 8 years ago in the summer of 2015. For many years, the church had served as a site of meal distribution on Mondays, and the meals back then were provided by the Washington County Mental Health Services. They were simple bagged lunches handed out to people at the door. The church learned that Washington County Mental Health was going to lose their funding for this meal program. A group of volunteers, some of whom, like Dave Grundy, have since passed away, but they came together. Out of love, they determined that the meals couldn't just stop, and so they devised a plan, some of you were part of that group, to begin preparing meals in the church kitchen as soon as the funding for the program ran out. The meals were homemade, served in the vestry. And dozens of you came together to plan those meals, to figure out how we would get ingredients, to offer hospitality, to run the dishwasher again and again. And so was born the Monday Community Lunch Program. This program continued in an adapted fashion through the past 3 years of COVID and will resume as a prepared and served warm meal open to all in April. There are many more stories like this one to share. We know from our lived experience that love is a central value and a motivating force in our spiritual community. Love is the doctrine of this church is not simply a sentimental statement. The desired effect is not simply to make us feel good, though it might do that. At its best, this is a challenging and demanding statement of theology. The Episcopal priest and feminist theologian Carter Hayward uses the words just, mutually empowering, and co-creative to describe this kind of love. It is not sentimental or unfocused, but it is the source of relational power and strength. In stating that love is the doctrine of this church, we must also recognize that love isn't just about ideas. Love is also an ethic. It is what we do together. Again, these are the words of Bell Hooks, who writes, "In an attempt to ward off life-threatening despair, more and more individuals are turning toward a love ethic. Embracing a love ethic means that we utilize all the dimensions of love: care, commitment, trust, responsibility, respect, and knowledge in our everyday lives." And I believe that this is what we strive to do together. And don't we need a love ethic right now? In a time when people are attacked as they seek out to live their truest selves outside of the confines of gender binaries, in a time when we are not yet free of the logic of domination that steals Black lives, in a time when we are prone to dismiss and demean those who do not share our political views, in a time when we face the existential crisis of human survival on a too-hot planet. In this time, we need the grounding of a robust ethic of love. This isn't easy, but I find hope in what is arguably the most important word in L. Griswold Williams' affirmation: covenant. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God, he wrote. We covenant. We make a vow. We live as if love is a doctrine. We live as if love is a practice. We live as if love is a path
that can lead us to greater freedom, greater justice, greater healing, and to liberation. Reverend Williams died unexpectedly in 1942 in his home in Long Island, just a few months after accepting a call to the First Universalist Church in Floral Park. He left behind his wife, a 9-year-old son, and 7-year-old daughter. His legacy continues with those words he penned 90 years ago. May we continue to live our way into the truth of his words. Love is the doctrine of this church, so may it be. I invite you to rise and body your spirit for our closing hymn, number 34 in the gray hymnal, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire. As we close our service, we extinguish our chalice and carry with us its flame of truth, the warmth of community, and the spark of hope and love into the days and the week ahead. As we do so, I invite you to join in saying our mission statement. We welcome all as we build a loving community to nurture each person's spiritual journey, serve human need, and protect the earth, our home. These words of benediction are by Alice Walker. Love, if it is love, never goes away. It is embedded in us like seams of gold in the earth, waiting for light, waiting to be struck. And we conclude the service with our postlude.